Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Marketing Matters. I'm Sarah Touchstone, Landmark Title's social media marketing strategist and educator. I get the pleasure of bringing you Marketing Matters live every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Arizona time. And today I am joined with Stacey Gross. Stacey has been on our Marketing Matters a couple of times. And in fact, this is now our second annual Veterans Day webinar that Stacey has joined us on. Many of you guys may know Stacey from our Arizona Real Estate series. She is one of our sponsors and our fabulous host for that. So if you guys have been on that, you may recognize her. Our next one is December 7th. I'll be talking more about that at the end of our webinar today. But Stacey is not only, like I said, an amazing guest host, an amazing lender. She is also a veteran. So I love having her on our Veterans Day Marketing Matters because she brings some amazing insight into how we can really incorporate and honor our veterans in our real estate business. So Stacey, I'm going to hand it off to you. You've got a great presentation for us today, and I'm excited to learn more.
Excellent. So now I think I can share my screen.
Yes.
I want to continue. Okay. There we go. All right. Can you see that? Oop, can you see it now?
Yes, I can.
All right. So first and foremost, I want to also take a moment and recognize all of our veterans that are in the audience, online. Your service. And sometimes I'll hear veterans say, well, I really didn't do that much. You did. You raised your hand, you swore an oath to our country, and you honored that. And that goes so far in so many people's views in regards to what that sacrifice that you made. So thank you for your service. It does not go unnoticed. We appreciate you. All right, let's kick it off. So I did set up a little bit of an agenda to for the flow of the meeting today. When was Veterans Day established? What are the different branches? And that's kind of a common question I get when I'm talking to younger people or people who are not familiar with all the branches. So I'm going to share a little bit about how all the branches are also connected, because it'll help you in your real estate business to understand, oh, I've got somebody I'm working with in the Navy, right? How did they function with other branches? And then events that are happening in the Valley and around the state for Veterans Day, and then top things you want to know about VA loans. So let's kick it off and go right into the main piece, right? Why do we recognize Veterans Day? So initially it was established to recognize the unknown soldier. So it's back in 1921 in England. And the way they came up with the date, as I've listed here, was the end of World War I, and it was the 11th day, the 11th month, the 11th day, 1918, but it was the 11th hour. So that 11/11/11 is kind of key. And it was originally called Armistice Day until 1954, when our Congress then established an official Veterans Day. So that's a little bit of history about how we got to today. So let's go in and talk a little bit more about the different branches, because a lot of times you'll hear, oh, this person was in the Navy, but understanding what that role was. So Navy, their names are called sailors. They're sailors. Their mission is to protect the waterways. They provide runways for the aircraft and support the Air Force. That is their main mission, is to support the Air Force. Next, you'll hear Air Force, and that's your airmen. It doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man, that's how they call them, as airmen. If you feel uncomfortable using that term, you can always say service member. But their operations are strictly air operations. Again, working in conjunction with the Navy when they're overseas. Finally, in that same group is the Marines. Still critical. They're really the ground operations, right? And they go by Marines, but they support the other branches also. So many times you'll see Marines working in conjunction with the Navy, Air Force, and even on land with Army. We had interactions with the Marines when I was in the First Gulf War. So a lot of times there's crossover in regards to missions. The Coast Guard They are the only ones that are overseen by the Department of Homeland Security. The other branches are all overseen by the Department of Defense. They're really, and their Coast Guardmen is what they're called. Their whole goal is to lead search and rescue missions on seas, mostly coastal areas. You rarely are going to see them deployed overseas into another area. And then the Army, that was what I was in, was the Army. We were referred to as called soldiers. Conduct ground and combat missions is our main focus. So a lot of times too with the Army, you'll see we're involved with National Guard. You'll see a lot of times the Army National Guard, Air Force National Guard, but a lot of the National Guard will be involved with us, and even somewhat with the Air Force. We will go in and support their efforts too. And then finally, Space Force, which is a newer service line, and they're called the Guardians. And they are to organize, train, and equip members to conduct global space operations. So that their mission is still kind of unfolding, and we'll see probably more. But as I mentioned, all of these services really are very connected. And as I mentioned, I was in the first Gulf War, and during that time that I was in, we learned a lot about our capabilities as a joint force. And the reason why I say that is really we had Vietnam, right, in the 60s or early 70s, but that war was quite a ways in the rearview mirror. Now comes Desert Storm, and we find out there's a lot of lack of communication, and bringing the forces together, shared technology. You'll find that there's a lot of shared technology and communications. We actually ran into problems where we couldn't communicate with the equipment we had with the other forces. Now that's all been solved for. So that was kind of a learning, if you will. We learned a lot from that time frame when we were in Desert Storm. All right, so let's go to the events that are happening in this next week. Obviously, the Veterans Day Parade already has happened, but we've got tributes in the Central Phoenix area coming up on the 11th, Saturday the 11th. The official day is Friday, the 10th, but on the 11th, there's going to be quite a few activities going on. You can do a Google search for the area you're in, and it'll pop up everything that is going on either Friday or Saturday. But so check your local listings. These were the top events that typically get a big turnout. And if you ever
my son is in Air Force ROTC, and his Air Force ROTC participates in the Veterans Day Parade on the 4th in Anthem. And if you guys have never been to that, it is amazing. It's a beautiful parade with so many people from the community coming out and honoring veterans, and a lot of veterans show up for this too.
Yeah, it's sometimes people say, I never know what to say to thank a veteran for their service, and that's all it takes right there. It's nice to have somebody engage us, and I've gotten to know a lot of great veterans over the years, and it's nice to have people engage and talk about our service. So yeah, attend these events, because you're going to meet some really amazing people and see some of the most amazing things that happened, during the service, and all the different kinds of people that get involved in the military. So I added this one slide because I felt like as we honor veterans, one of the things that is important is to also talk about veteran issues. We're still averaging 22 suicides a day. And so I added that va.gov/reach. That particular website is there to help. So if you do run across somebody that you think is in trouble or needs help, please reach out to the VA. They are very active in trying to curb and reduce suicide rates. And there's a lot of different organizations that are in place to help support our veterans. One of the things that's also challenging, and this relates more to from a real estate standpoint, is that transition from military life to civilian. If you're working with veterans that have maybe been in the military for 20, 30 years, and now they're transitioning to a civilian life, there's a lot of adjustments. And so as you're talking with them, find out what's important to them. Is it important for them to be close to maybe the Air Force Base, Luke Air Force Base, or towards the VA, near a VA clinic? So those are the kinds of things that you can have conversations with them about as to what's important to them and what they need for support. The other thing is community change, being connected. That's a big challenge when you go from military life. Everything is very regimented, right? A lot of decisions are made for you, and you've got your network of friends. Now all of a sudden you're making a pretty radical change. They may not even be. They've been so used to moving around that now being in one place, they're looking for that community outreach. So it's a great way to engage with them and get to know them and find out, what their interests are. Another issue that we've faced is the homelessness that a lot of our veterans have faced. And that's when engaging again with the VA, looking for opportunities to help them transition, maybe it's to rental property, and then ultimately we want to help them get into a home ownership situation. Things you want to know about a VA loan. And I'm just going to hit, I know there's lots of 3-hour classes out there on VA loans, but some of the things that I see quite frequently and you want to be aware of is when you're working with a veteran, you want to confirm that they have their certificate of eligibility. There's very specific criteria that gets them that certificate of eligibility. For example, they have had to have fought in a foreign war, right? They've had to meet a certain amount of time in service. Sometimes I'll get calls from people who have served and they thought they qualified, only to find out we can order the certificate of eligibility right away for them. We'll find out exactly, yes, you do qualify for a VA loan, and then if there was a disability, maybe you're waiving a portion or all of that funding fee. So it's really important. As soon as somebody says they want to use their VA benefits, let's get them and let's get a hold of we'll go through the VA, get their certificate of eligibility and help them with that process. Like I said, we can order it for them also. When we say a clear termite, so many times on the first page of the termite report, it'll say no evidence of termites. But when you go to the second page on your termite report, that's when you're going to see yes and no boxes checked. If any of the yes boxes are checked, except for the inaccessible areas, so those first few boxes, if any of those are checked yes, you do have to address those prior to closing. And I always say you really want to have them addressed at least a week before closing, because we need to get the termite inspector back out there to give you a clear termite. So that's a little bit of the nuance with the termite report is making sure that you understand that it's page 2. Obviously, we can't any signs of termites also, but on page 2, you want to make sure that all those boxes are checked no, again, except for the inaccessible areas. And many times the termite report, the inspector will be able to walk you through what needs to be addressed. I always coach people that before the termite inspector goes out, make sure there's no signs of water damage, there's no rotting wood. Those are the kinds of things you want to address. Many times I'll hear concerns from listing agents or sellers about the appraisal process with a VA. And again, it's not any different than an FHA or a conventional, specifically similar to an FHA in the sense that they're looking for health and safety. So if there's issues, hey, we've got water stains that we need to address, then let's address them before the appraiser gets out there. Let's make sure we don't have any water. And again, the VA, the reason why they have the health and safety parameters on the appraisal is because they're trying to protect the veteran. And so it works in conjunction, as we would want to protect any of our homeowners, right? And then finally, it's coming up now, question in regards to the VA buyer and the changes that are potentially coming in regards to commissions, is that the VA will not allow the veteran to pay the buyer commission. So make sure you're talking with your broker about those parameters, but something to be aware of. We've got a few minutes left. I'm going to open it up for questions. I'm happy to answer questions and help in any way I can.
Thanks, Stacey. That's really great information. I love that we talked a little bit about the history of it today. we in America, we have a huge amount of veterans. We have, the largest voluntary military out there, and we have a lot of holidays that we celebrate. However, a lot of times people do get confused. Which holiday are we celebrating? What and where did it come from? And so I know for me, I learned something new today. And as I was mentioning earlier, my son is in an Air Force ROTC and is interested in, moving forward into the military. And we don't have anybody in our family that is military. So learning these little things along the way, it's so important. And here in Arizona, we really have a lot of veterans. Do you know what the statistics are on how many veterans we have here in Arizona?
Yeah, we are literally second to Norfolk in Virginia. So
Yeah.
we are one of the top 3 places for veterans and active duty, retired, and veterans. There's different you can put them all in there. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Maricopa County specifically has a large contingency.
Yeah. So when we are out there and we're working with veterans in our industry, it really is very important to have these sensitivities towards the people that we're working with. And things like VA loans, they are really different. And a lot of times, especially the market that we just came out of, poor veterans, VA loans got put down on the bottom of the list in a lot of ways. So the market that we're in now, it's a lot more fair. There's a lot more opportunities for working with, the VA loans and the veteran buyers and sellers out there. So if you guys do have any questions, Stacey, can you put your information in the chat window? Oh, there it is right there. So yeah. Perfect. But yeah, Stacey she's not only a veteran, she's not only a great speaker and a wonderful partner for us here at Landmark Title, but she is a veteran, and she does specialize in VA loans and working specifically with veterans. And a lot of times too, if you are working with veterans, they love to work with other veterans too. So obviously, if you're not a veteran, still go after these clients, present yourself as the industry expert, and maybe bring on a veteran into your team to do the lending, with Stacey. So like I said, if you guys have any questions, reach out to Stacey. Wonderful presentation. I always hope that when we do these presentations that those that are attending or watching the recording later, that you guys get a little golden nugget out of these presentations. I mean, sometimes it's all golden nuggets, but sometimes there's just like a little something that resonates with you that you can take and you can implement into your business. That's why we make these just quick 30-minute webinars. As Stacey said, if you want to learn more about VA loans, there are a lot of 3-hour CE classes out there. I highly recommend working one of those into your CE requirements, because just like we said, there's a lot of veterans here. And if you are not an expert on VA loans, then you have the potential to do your clients a disservice because there are some nuances in working with veterans and VA. So thank you, Stacey. Beth said, thanks, Stacey.
Sarah, really appreciate it.
And she said, thank you for your service. Of course. So I'm going to wrap up with a couple of, I'll say there's a class that we have coming up that I mentioned earlier. And then we have some home tours coming up too. Before I get to those though, I do want to touch on the fact that we have the Adopt a Family program with help coming up. Now is the time. Now is the time. We are registering for our families. A lot of the families are going, they're going quickly, which is a great thing. There's a lot of people participating, but there's always more. There's always more that we can do. There's always more that we can help. Even if you're not in a position to take on your own family this year, you can help out one of our offices, or you can donate even directly to help. We can help you to facilitate the communication with that. Or if you'd even like to just show up for our wrapping party, I'm going to have a save the date next week for that, but put it on your calendar. It is December 6th. We're going to be getting together as a company and with our clients, and we're going to just be wrapping up all the gifts that we have. It's a great day. It's a great way to give back, and just really feel good. But like I said, scan that QR code if you want more information, you want to participate. We would absolutely, you want your own family. We would love to have you be a part of this again this year. This is our 4th year participating. All right. And then a Moon Valley home tour. This one is on the, home tours are back, Stacey. You do a home tour, right?
Yep.
Yes. So Stacey knows all about this. We have a couple of home tours that we do on a regular basis here at Landmark Title. One is our Moon Valley home tour. This is going to be on the 3rd Thursdays at 8:30. If you have a Moon Valley home that you would like to include on this tour, or you would just like to attend it, there's a great group of realtors that attends. They do a little mastermind at the beginning, and you can get a lot of great information from your fellow realtors on what they're seeing out in the market. And then we have our Biltmore luxury tour. These tours have been run for years, so they're well established, both in very quirky neighborhoods too. The Moon Valley homes and the Biltmore homes, you're going to find homes that are not like a lot of the other homes here in the Valley. So even if you just want to go and get some content for reels, for social media, both of these are great tours. The Biltmore luxury is on the 4th Wednesday at 9 a.m. and they meet at the Camelback Lakes corporate office. So if you have a Biltmore home that you want on this tour, or like I said, you just want to attend, these are great. And then we've got the next in our Arizona real estate series coming up. I mentioned it earlier. Stacey is our host for this. So like what I do on Marketing Matters, Stacey does for us on the Arizona real estate series, and so much more. We have some great speakers coming up on this next one too. If you haven't attended one of these yet, I really encourage you to hop on and attend. We've got an economist and a real estate attorney coming on. Stacey, do you want to say anything else about this? Because I know it's going to be,
obviously good. Thank you for putting this up, Sarah. There is so many questions in regards to what is happening with regards to the recent lawsuit that we're going to have Rick Mack address. Rick Mack runs the broker hotline for AAR. So he'll have a lot of very timely information for us. Parker Ross with ArchMI. The nice thing about Parker is he's ingrained in the real estate industry. And so from his perspective, we're going to get a lot of information in regards to what to expect in 2024. Not, as much as they can predict, but what are the indicators? What do we need to be watching for? So this is a do not miss, and that's on Pearl Harbor Day. So it'll be a great day to attend.
Yeah. And then if you ever were one of the people that was like, oh, I wish I had a crystal ball into what's coming next in the real estate industry, this is what this series is all about. Yeah. This is your crystal ball. If you really do want to find out what's coming next, and I know that we all do, like this is top of mind for all of us, then you really need to register and attend these webinars. We do them once a quarter. So it's not like a big commitment. They're an hour long. They're on Zoom. Scan that QR code. If you've registered before, then you're good. You're already registered. We use the same link. However, like I said, if you haven't registered, hop on that. And that, I think, is it for us today, guys. So thank you, of course, to Stacey for coming on. And if you see anything that you would like to implement into your business on Marketing Matters, please reach out to our business development management team, Beth, Keith, Mary, Melinda, Michael, Michelle, and Prescott, Patty, and Renee. They can help you implement any of the marketing techniques that we talk about on here. So please reach out. They love working with you guys. And of course, thank you to Landmark Title for allowing us to bring you Marketing Matters, wonderful speakers, and amazing content every single Wednesday morning. Check us out on the YouTube channel, reach out. And of course, please think of us on your next contract. We'd love to offer you award-winning customer service. We have 7 offices across the valley, 1 in Prescott and 2 up in the Nevada area. So we're here for all of your title and escrow needs, and have a wonderful day. Happy Veterans Day coming up this weekend. And of course, thank you, Stacey, and all of our veterans out there for your service and your continued support of this wonderful nation.
Thank you, Sarah.